So Jamal Nayer's here at Manchester Top Team with Callum Conor. You had one of the best amateur fights I've ever seen recently. Did not expect to see you so soon. You're now making your pro debut. First of all, how is the nose doing? You broke the nose in the first round, I believe, of the last fight. You went the distance, 5-round war. Unlucky to not get something from the fight, to be honest, with the way that you performed. Talk about what that experience was like and why the decision came about to turn pro.
Yeah, it was a very tough fight, mate. Yeah, a great experience, one that I'm thankful for. I've heard a lot of guys say sort of you don't want those type of fights early on in your career. You want those fights sort of later on. But I'm kind of thankful for it because I've been in those deep waters now. I felt everything I've needed to feel. I've been hurt. I've been taken down. He tried to submit me. So I kind of show what's in the locker there in terms of my will and my will to win. So now that I've shown that, I really feel that a lot of my skill I've not shown yet. I'm going to do so on December the 10th in my pro debut. So you put with the will and the skill together, it's a hard man to beat.
Because the amateur side of MMA isn't a path that necessarily a lot of people go down. And you've had an extensive Thai boxing experience as well, haven't you? From a young age. Yeah. So do you think that puts you a step ahead of most of the opposition in your weight class? Because, like I said, even though it didn't go your way last time, you've had so many experiences of the ups and downs of the fight game for such a young age that it puts you in such good stead going forward.
Yeah, and like I was telling you there, in the amateurs, I've felt out every scenario I've needed to feel out. I've been there with different bodies, different opponents who have all pushed me. And I really feel that in the amateur game, I'm weapons down. Like, if you only have to look at the last fight in those up close clinch positions, I was really dominating the fight. Or that's where I really felt like I was taking over. But when your weapons down in terms of the knees to the head and the elbows, it makes a massive difference, especially for someone like me. So I feel like for the past 2-3 fights, I've been ready to go pro. You only have to look at the bodies I'm training with day in, day out. I take a lot of confidence from that. Your likes of Lerone, and there's great guys in the gym. And like I say, I take great confidence from that. But going forward now, I've shown what I'm really made of. I'll come in with the pretty looks, and people say pretty boy this, pretty boy that, but pretty boy can fight. Do you know what I mean? I've proven that. And once you see the skill now, it's takeover time. These 155s are in trouble.
Was it always MMA which was the path for you, because you had that extensive Thai boxing background? Was it ever a career that you were looking at? One championship's giving an amazing sort of asset to Thai boxers around the world, and there's an opportunity to make money there. Was there a turning point for you where you switched from an aspiration from Thai boxing to MMA, or was it always the building blocks for you stand up in MMA?
What it was, I was very young when I got into Thai boxing. It was kind of one of those things. I was going past the gym with my dad, and I think he kind of wanted me to be able to look after myself. So it was one of them. He said, "Do you want to try it?" And then, I plucked up the courage to go and give it a go, and I took it from there. But MMA was really the first sport I actually started watching. I actually remember back in 2010, funny story actually, switched on the TV and The Ultimate Fighter came on, and it was Josh Koscheck versus GSP.
Yeah, I remember that season.
Yeah,
season 12.
Yeah, and there's a guy in here who was on that season. Do you know who that was? Aaron Wilkinson, my wrestling coach. So it's a bit
I was cheering him on, man.
Yeah. At that time, I obviously didn't know who he was, but I just remember him being referred to as English, and he was the only English fella in the house. And it's funny how things have kind of come full circle. All these years later, I'm here at Manchester Top Team. He's one of my coaches. But yeah, that was one of the first things I watched. The first UFC event I watched was Anderson Silva versus Damian Maia. That was
a bad one to watch.
It was a bad one to watch, but it was kind of one of them, like, as bad as it was kind of like entertaining. Like, the skill that someone like Silva possessed, he just kind of shut him down completely, didn't he? But that was actually the first thing I watched, and I kind of, from there, I watched it. Like any UFC event that I'd come on, I'd watch it. So yeah, I've been watching it all these years, and then the kind of reign that McGregor had coming through at 145. I'm not someone who really I don't have a favourite fighter or anything like this. I don't base myself off a certain fighter. I take from certain individuals, and I am who I am. But I did really love Conor's rise, and that for me was kind of like, you know, I'd love to do it. So come a few years later, you know, I was kind of done with Thai, and then I made the switch, and here I am today.
And there's so many, I say this to Lewis all the time, you know, you're not short of inspiration from this gym. Even when you say Aaron Wilkinson there, you're training with someone that you used to watch on TV. You've got Lerone, who you can tune into the UFC whenever he fights. You go on UFC Fight Pass, watches undefeated record in the UFC now. Kane's been doing his thing in Bellator, and Brendan Loughnane, man, representing Manchester on the big stage there, $1 million in the bank.
Anyone from Manchester who's doing, you know, to have done what he's done and being from Manchester, it's absolutely fantastic. So respect, you know what I mean? And the Colt being on the card as well, I really feel like, especially you look at a top team here and the bodies that are around me, there's going to be a bit of a surge coming through from top team. Like you look at your likes of a City Kickboxing, I feel like there's going to be a lot of talent come from here, and you're going to see your boy right up there, no doubt about it.
Have you put yourself a roadmap of where you want to be in a certain aspect of time, or are you just looking at it as it's your pro debut, take one step at a time? You've already been quite patient with things as it is. Like you've said, you could have turned pro a few fights ago, but you didn't. You wanted to get more experience in. Is that going to be the same for your pro game as well?
It's kind of a funny one, because in my amateurs I had 6 fights, and they're all in a really short space of time. I had five fights in the space of like 10 months, and then I kind of eased off a bit, had a little bit of development time, and then I've had a couple of fights this year, but all being hard fights. And like I say, I felt out those different scenarios. But you said it correct, you know, I'm 22 years of age, soon to be 23 next month, and I'm very young. I've been doing combat all my life, so I really feel like it's just about taking one fight at a time, taking it step by step, and the rest will follow. You know, I'm doing my bit in that. I'm turning up here every day. I'm putting in the extra hours. You know, even when I'm not in here, this is my life, mate. The first thing I do when I get up in the morning is think about fighting. I go home at night, I think about fighting. I'll switch something on. I'll watch a tutorial or a fight from last weekend. You know what I mean? This is my life. This is, I literally live, eat, sleep, breathe it. And I just feel like everything's there for me. It's all there for the taking, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take it. I want to snatch it out of everyone's hand. I want to keep working, and I'll be up there soon enough, mate. 3 years, 3 years, I see myself in the UFC. And, you know, talk is just talk without substance, but, you know, I want to back it up. I want to put on the performances, no doubt about it.
So tell us about your fight on the 10th, who you're going up against, and, you know, what you're willing to inflict on this one. Different rule set from the amateurs, so you've got a lot more tools, like you said, at your advantage, and a lot more weapons to use. And you're going to bring a big crowd of people. You had a big crowd of people there last time, as your opponent did. You love them big fight feel atmospheres, don't you?
Yeah, that's what I feel like I really thrive off. I love a crowd. It wouldn't make a difference to me either way. You know, if there was no crowd, I'd still go in there, and it'd be the same. It'd be no different. It'd be like a sparring day. But this is what it's all about. What do we train for? I love those big occasions. I love going and I love hearing the sound of my name in the crowd and all that. And it's only going to get bigger from here on out. But going back to the fight, December the 10th, you know, the fella's going to come to fight, but I'm going to shut him down. There's no two ways about it. I really feel like when I go in with the approach of just to enjoy and just not really overthink anything, I think sometimes it's easy to let, as a fight, you know, you go through a lot of emotions, you overthink things, and anyone who's telling you otherwise is lying. But I feel like when Callum Conor goes in there and does what he does, he goes in there to enjoy it. That's when you'll really see the best out of me. So that's what I'm going to do on December the 10th, and I'm going to put on a performance.
That's it, man. Really looking forward to it. You always bring it. Exciting fights. Can't wait, man.